Hello children, welcome back to the channel. Today we will be discussing a very important topic of application of friction, and that will be cornering of a car, or equivalently a car moving in a circular path in a band in the road. First we will be considering the case of level road, that is when the road is flat and it's taking a it's curved and it's horizontal, in the sense it's a plane one. So what we have taken is that, let's say a car is taking a counterclockwise turn in a circular road whose a path or circular path has a center around O. So the distance or average radius of the car is supposed say to be, or average radius is to be, say R. Now what we need to find is that if it is moving with a speed or a velocity of v, then under what condition the car will be able to stay in the road. What will be the maximum velocity of v with which the car can take this circular bend or circular turn without slipping away. Now see, what happens is that in the previous video we have discussed that whenever an object moves in a circular path, it experiences a force which is not a real force, but it's felt by the object, and that because of the acceleration, that is the centripetal acceleration of the object feels a equal amount of force in the outward direction, which is known as the centrifugal force. You may please refer to that video, that is the previous video where we have discussed about centripetal and centrifugal force. Now what happens that when the car is taking this turn, moving, then it will experience a centrifugal force which will be directed radially outwards in this direction, and so it will tend to move out. However, as the centrifugal force tends to push the car out of the path or makes the car slide away radially outwards, frictional force will generate at the wheels of the car. Let's say the first wheel or inner wheel, there is a frictional force of say F1, and in the second wheel, the outer wheel, there is a frictional force of say F2. So these two forces of friction acting on the inner and the outer wheels combined tend to resist the sliding of it under the influence of centrifugal force Fc. Okay, so if we consider this, then what we must have is that when v becomes vmax, that is the maximum velocity allowed, or since we know Fc equal to m v square divided by r, where r is the radius and v is the velocity. Now when v becomes vmax, the Fc becomes Fc max, that is the maximum centrifugal force that will be generated. Now for the car not to move out, we must have that this combined frictional force, that is F1 plus F2, must be greater than or equal to Fc centrifugal force, the maximum value. Now the maximum value of centrifugal force will be given by simply Fc max will be m v square max, maximum value, by r. Now to find this Vmax, we need to be able to find F1 plus F2, the net frictional force. Now if you consider the case, in the rear wheel, of course there will be a reaction force, let's call this R1, and the outer wheel also there will be a reaction force, that will be R2. Okay, weight of the car is acting say vertically downwards, mg. So this R1 and R2 combined will produce the necessary reaction force in the upward direction to max m. So the net reaction, that is, let's say, acting through this is R equal to R1 plus R2. Okay, so from this we can have in the vertical direction we have one equation R equal to R1 plus R2, and also we have R equals to mg. Okay, so the net normal reaction is equal to the weight, and net normal reaction is reaction on wheel 1 and reaction on wheel 2, the sum of them. Now, by definition, F1 will be coefficient of friction into R1, and F2 will be coefficient of friction between the tires and the road, that is into R2. Therefore, F1 plus F2 must be equal to mu taken common R1 plus R2, which is nothing but R. So this is mu R. But R we have found is equal to mg, therefore F1 plus F2 is equal to mg, mu into mg. So substituting this value for F1 plus F2 in equation number 1 will give us that, this is equation 2 say. So equation number 1 and 2 will clearly give us that mu mg must be greater than equal to mv max square by R. Sorry, must be equal to mv square by R. So this is a general condition, F1 plus F2 equal to is greater than equal to Fc. So as long as this inequality is satisfied, so as long as mu mg is greater than or equal to mv square by R, the car will not slide out. So the maximum possible value of this is that so mv square by R is less than equal to mu mg, right? So maximum value of m that is possible, mv square by R that is possible will be mv square by R. Mv square by R will have a maximum value and v has the maximum value because m and R are constants. So mv max square. This can be, the maximum value could be equal to mu mg. If you simplify, we have v max squared equal to mu r g. Okay, or equivalently v max, maximum value of velocity with which the car can negotiate the circular path without slipping is equal to square root of mu r g. Okay, that is to say v max is proportional to square root of mu and is also proportional to square root of r. So sharper the radius, smaller will be the value of v max, lower the coefficient of friction, smaller will be the value. Now normally what happens in the road, the radius of the one particular turn will remain the same. However, due to the weather conditions, due to the temperatures, the coefficient of friction can change. Say there has been rain, so the road becomes a little more slippery. So mu will change. If mu reduces, V max reduces. And so during slippery or the rainy season, it's always advised that you move slower. So that because the friction between the wheels and the road is decreased because of the layer of water that is deposited on the surface of the road. That is why what we have seen is that if you make the turns in the horizontal direction, you are too much dependent on this friction, coefficient of friction. So it becomes a little difficult for people to negotiate. So is there any way where we can eliminate or reduce the dependence on mu? That is an important question, and the answer to this is yes, we can reduce it. How? That will be discussed right away. Okay, to reduce the dependence on friction, what we do is that we bank the roads. What is meant by banking of roads? It simply means that when the road has a curve in it, the inner side of the curve is made lower compared with the outer side. That is, the outer side of the curve is made a little elevated. In this case, the curve is a circular path and having origin, or say the center at O. So what happens is that the side nearer to O is made lower compared with the side away from O. The outer side is higher compared with the inner side. And so the car, when it moves in circular path, it will be made to move in an angle. It will be not horizontal, but it will be making an angle with the horizontal while moving. Now what happens under such cases? Let's consider the forces that are acting on it when the car is moving in a banked road. First of all, the weight is always there, vertically downwards, and there will be a normal reaction acting perpendicular to the road, or plane or surface of the car, or the plane on which the car is standing. The centrifugal force, since the car is moving counterclockwise, so centrifugal force will be radially outwards, so it will be acting in this direction, outward direction, right? And as a result, a frictional force will appear, which will be towards the center of it. This is the net frictional force. So, see, since the directions of the forces are not the same, so what we will do, we will resolve the forces. Let's resolve the normal reaction in the vertical and the horizontal direction. So the vertical component will be R, this will be theta, cos theta, and this will be R sin theta. Also, the frictional force which is acting in this direction, F, can be resolved into two components, the vertical component and the horizontal component. The vertical component will be F sin theta, and horizontal component will be F cos theta. Now, the outward force, sorry, I use this, is equal to m v square by r, where v is the velocity with which the car is, or the vehicle is moving right now. So what we will have is that in the horizontal direction, if you consider the forces, there are two forces, r sin theta in the leftward direction, f cos theta in the leftward direction, and mv square by r in the right direction. So we have r sin theta plus f cos theta equals to m v square by r. This is one. And if you consider the vertical direction, what we will have is that upward r cos theta, downward mg plus downward f sin theta. There are three forces, right? So r cos theta must be equal to mg plus f sin theta, or we can rewrite this as r cos theta minus f sin theta equals to mg. This is our equation number 1 and this is equation number 2. Now if we divide 1 by 2, equation number 1 divided by equation number 2, what will we get? Plus f cos theta divided by r cos theta minus f sin theta equal to mv square by r by mg. Or we can equivalently say, taking r cos theta we can equivalently say, if we take r cos theta common of the numerator, what we will have? R is there, so sin theta, and then sin theta by cos theta plus f by r. And if you take r cos theta common in the denominator also, see, we are using certain amount of trickery to get to certain convenient form, because f by r we know is mu, so we want to introduce mu into this, or coefficient of friction into this. So what we get is that r cos theta common is 1 minus f by r sin theta by cos theta equal to, here we have v square by rg. So r cos theta will cancel out. So we will be left with tan theta plus mu. F by r is mu, right? Divided by 1 minus f by r mu tan theta equals to v square by rg. From this we get v equals to rg mu plus tan theta by 1 minus mu tan theta, whole thing under square root. Fine. So what if in this case, let's write it here. This is horizontal, this is vertical. What if we get no friction? That is, if mu equals to 0 in this equation number 3, what do we get? We get v equal to rg mu plus mu is 0, so tan theta in the numerator. In the denominator 1 minus mu tan theta, mu is 0, so mu tan theta will be 0, so we have by 1, that is tan theta. So we have this, v equal to rg tan theta, that is to say tan theta equal to v square by rg. Okay, so what does it signify? See, when we say mu equal to 0, whether there is no friction or even if there is friction, we have found the value of velocity for which the frictional component is no longer required. So what happens is that to keep the car moving, we no longer need the friction. If we don't need the friction, that is mu becomes equal to 0, then for this particular velocity, square root of rg tan theta, or the angle of banking theta equal to v square by rg for a given v. What happens is that the vehicle will not experience any frictional force on the wheels. If there is no frictional force on the wheels, then the vehicle's wheels will be at the least amount of wear and tear, least amount of stress, or in other words, there will not be much of wear and tear. So in the bank road, whatever is the speed limit given is found by this equation. And if you move with the speed limit given in the curved path which is banked, your wheels will be at the least amount of wear and tear, and you will be at the least risk of getting swept away due to the centrifugal force. Up till now we have discussed about what happens when a vehicle takes a level circular path, that is four-wheeler, and also a four-wheeler takes a why we need to bank the road. Now what about two-wheelers? Let's consider a case of a cyclist taking a circular path as shown in the figure where r is the radius. Now what is seen, if you have watched the bike races, the superbike races, you will see that when the corner comes, the vehicles or the bike riders or the racers, what they do, they tilt the bike and then take the corner. What advantage does it have compared with when you are moving in the horizontal one? So let's say in this corner, the cyclist which is moving makes an angle theta with the vertical to take the corner. So what are the different forces acting on the cyclist? Let's say here, let's consider here, there will be this weight mg, and due to this there will be a normal reaction which will be, since the cycle is angled now, so the normal reaction will be in this direction. Okay, now there will be two components of the normal reaction, right? One will be in this direction and one will be the vertical direction. This will be theta, so this will be r cos theta and this will be r sin theta. The centrifugal force will be in this direction, m v square by r, where v is the speed with which the cyclist is taking the corner. Okay, so if we consider the horizontal component again, in the horizontal direction there are two forces, r sin theta in the inward direction, mv square by r in the outward direction. For the cycle or the bike not to slide out, these two must balance each other. So we have r sin theta must be equal to m v square by r. In the vertical direction, clearly r cos theta equal to what we have, mg. Okay, if I divide this equation by this equation, we get tan theta is equal to m v square by r whole thing divided by mg. So this will cancel, therefore tan theta equal to v square by rg. So if the cyclist or the biker makes this angle theta with the vertical, then the friction doesn't come into play. The vehicle can negotiate it without taking any help from the friction. As we know, friction is a fickle friend in the sense that the friction can vary with the conditions of the road and the conditions of the tires. So if they can negotiate the corner or the turning without any help from the friction, then the chances of the vehicle negotiating the corner safely will be more. Another thing you must have noticed, see, tan theta is equal to v square by rg, the angle at which the cycle needs to bend. Also, in the previous case, what we found that this theta, for no help, or if for the case where mu became equal to 0, we found that also tan theta was given by the same equation v square by rg. So this is the condition for where even four-wheeler or a two-wheeler will not need any assist from the friction. Now, for a two-wheeler, since it can be tilted about its with the vertical compared with, that's why we do not need a bank road, though the bank road will make it easier for them. But for vehicle, of course, you cannot take a four-wheeler vehicle and then try to move it in with in a tilted position, right? So the road needs to be banked for four-wheelers, must be. However, the two-wheelers will also perform as well as in the bank road. Now see, if the two-wheeler was moving in this bank road, then it doesn't need to try to tilt itself, but it will anyways be tilted. If it wants to be perpendicular to the road surface, it will still be tilted at the same angle with the vertical, that is, this angle will be theta. So ultimately, banking of the road or even the horizontal or flat road, the two-wheeler can bank or tilt its vehicle to get or to negotiate the turning without taking any help from the friction. Okay,